Was it a choke or was it a comeback, Francis Maxwell? Many times in sports history across all the sports, from world football to American football to basketball, baseball, and so on and so forth, we are quick to label certain teams as chokers, certain players, certain moments, or it's a remarkable comeback, but they only get labeled one way. Chokers or comeback. It's true, because you never see, at least when you look back on some of the incidents we're going to look at, you can tell it's like you have an immediate reaction. Well, that was a choke. That was a comeback. All right, so the most recent example, I guess we can use, at least from the NBA playoffs. Actually, the most recent example would have been yesterday evening. Oh, this is going up Tuesday, so Sunday evening, when MESSI botched his PK.
Or the most recent.
England
losing to Iceland. But I completely agree, and I do want to go on and clarify that statement. There is two ways. You have to really take into account the fact that whether it's just an upset, a team that played out of their mind to beat a team that are on paper far better than them, or, as I consider it, a choke is when everything's laid out for you to pursue the victory or to pursue greatness, whatever you want to do, and you mess it up, not because of the opponent, but simply because you could not handle the pressure.
Right.
That was MESSI in the penalty shootout. Nothing else.
It was a choke.
That was a choke. That is a great example of it. But as I know we're going to get to in some of the list, I do have my thoughts on some of the, I would say, the picks from Bleacher Report.
Okay, to the picks from Bleacher Report, we have 10 of which from their slideshow, which, by the way, there should be a hashtag some of their stop internet slideshows. And this is not, I know this is an order of the ones they put it, not ranking them. The Chicago Cubs in the 2003 NLCS, also known as the Steve Bartman incident. The New York Giants giving up 28 straight points in the last 7 minutes of the fourth quarter to choke away Week 15 of the 2010 NFL season. The San Antonio Spurs up 10 points to the Miami Heat. LeBron James, Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade. Bron misses a three. Bosh grabs the rebound, throws it to Ray Allen in the corner. Hits the three to go to Game 7. The Heat take care of business in Game 7. New York Yankees in the 2004 ALCS, I should say, up 3-0 to the Boston Red Sox. And then mayhem ensued when the Red Sox finally got there, at least over the hump of the ALCS and then the World Series. AC Milan in the 2005 Champions League Final.
Nope.
It's a giant comeback. Portland Trail Blazers in the Western Conference Finals back in 2000. The Texas Rangers in the 2011 World Series. The New England Patriots 18-0 going against the New York Giants in the Super Bowl, at least the one in 2007. University of Northern Iowa in the 2016 NCAA tournament. It's not even, doesn't belong on a list. And Oklahoma City Thunder in the Western Conference Finals. So let's pick up from the bottom of that list. The Oklahoma City Thunder were up 3-1 against the Golden State Warriors. They had to go win. To close out the series, they had to win in Golden State in Game 5. They did not do that. And then they came back to Oklahoma City, where they had to win in Game 6. They did not do that. And in Game 7, the Warriors closed out at home. I think the Thunder did not choke.
I agree.
I think part of it was you can't stop Klay Thompson when he's hitting 30-foot jumpers. Over and well-defended, contested 30-foot jumpers. It's not a choke. It's just better. It's great defense getting trumped by even better offense. It's actually exactly what we saw with Kyrie Irving in the NBA Finals. Was his offense was head and shoulders above what Klay Thompson could do on defense. And he was playing great defense multiple times through games 5, 6, and 7. Wasn't enough.
That wasn't a choke, because you got to take into context the opponent as well. It's a 73-9 regular season team.
Yeah.
They are there for a reason. So, yeah, they might not have played their best, but they weren't like gifted the opportunity to play the 76ers in a final game and then a 3-1 up and allow for them to come back.
Right.
That's what I would consider a choke, because on paper you expect this team to go on and pursue greatness. Whereas in the opposite example, some people could consider Steph Curry and his teammates in Game 7 against Cleveland a choke, and I think that's
not
more.
Draymond Green.
Not Draymond Green. I think he played well. But that, I would listen to, I still don't think it is, but I would listen to that argument more so, because again, they had everything in front of them to go and win that. They had the home crowd. They had two of the best three-point shooters we've seen ever on their team. And they had an opponent who they know they know on paper they could have beaten, and they're a better regular season record. Cleveland Cavs have LeBron James and Kyrie Irving, so therefore that kind of weighs out my argument.
So you would
in terms
say
of a
the
choke.
finals were more of a choke than the Western Conference?
Yes, I'd say the finals in Game 7
I
for
agree
Golden
with
State
that.
would be more of a choke than Oklahoma. But I still don't think it was a choke because I've got a very specific way of categorizing what is a choke.
What is a choke and what is not?
Yeah.
All right, well, here's an easy one that's the definition of a choke, and that is the Chicago Cubbies, because the Cubbies have been cursed for, goddamn, 150. At this point, now that Cleveland got their championship, God, give the Cubbies one. Just hand it to them as a consolation champion. They need it. This year it looks good, even though the San Francisco Giants just surpassed them for the best, most wins in baseball. But the Cubbies were up 3-0 with 1 out in the 8th inning. Marlins second baseman Luis Castillo also dropped an infield fly for the Mets, losing to the Yankees during a regular season game, to which I still hate him for that in every moment of my life. Moises Alou goes up to grab the foul ball, which is teetering towards the fans. He goes up. Steve Bartman, a fan of the Cubs, is sitting there and gets in the way of Moises Alou, who drops the ball. The next at bat, errors are caused. They drop the lead. They drop the series. They were 5 outs away from going to the World Series. And, of course, since then, Steve Bartman, I don't think has stepped foot. There's a couple articles, like I think he was ran out of Chicago just for being in the way of that ball. It wasn't Steve Bartman. The Cubbies choked. That wasn't the final out of the inning. That would have been the second out of the inning. You should blame your infielder. Alex Gonzalez made the error in the infield. Next play, 2 plays later. That's a choke, man. You can't let a fan incident get in the way of you making a routine ground out. Come on. All right, Maxwell. Let's move forward because, people, do you consider the Spurs and the Heat a choke?
I don't think so either. Again, it's hard. How can you consider a team choking? Yeah, when they might have had the upper hand at some point, playing against a team that has LeBron James, Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, and
Ray Allen.
And Ray Allen. People made the comment that LeBron James choked with that game, potentially game-saving shot, which Ray Allen made to keep them within the series.
Yeah, but I will always bring this up because people forget so quickly. Game 6 had a triple-double. Game 6, they were down 10
I remember
double figures in that fourth quarter, and LeBron railed off and scored and assisted on all 10 of those fucking points. So I can't stand the argument of Ray Allen bailing out LeBron James when LeBron James bailed out his team 7 minutes before that point. Also, for it to be a choke, I mean, the Spurs could have won Game 7.
Yeah.
They didn't. So I think it's actually tougher in an NBA series because it's a series.
It's a series, yeah.
What was a choke, at least in a single-game instance, was the Clippers. 2014-2015 Clippers, not the injury-riddled ones that happened during this season. They're a step away from going to the Western Conference Finals, getting over the hump. Could go toe-to-toe with the Warriors a year ago. Could have made it there with Chris Paul and DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin, but they're up 19, Francis. It's in the fourth quarter. They're up 3-2 in the series. They were up 3-1 in the series, but in this Game 6, they were up 3-2, and James Harden was sick. So you let Josh Smith, Trevor Ariza, Jason Terry, and half of Dwight Howard beat you.
Yeah, that's... That again, it's a choke. I think it's easier.
The Knicks? Reggie Miller even did the fucking thing with the choke.
I think it's easier to break it down per game, per play.
Per play in the
per
game is easier.
quarter. And in sports, again, they referenced that Bleacher Report, which just shows that this wasn't a football fan, MyFootball, writing this. Because he obviously read that AC Milan were 3-0 up. And was like, it's a choke, man.
Well, I was going to read. No.
Let me give you the reasoning.
He said it was a choke. AC Milan led Liverpool 3-0 at halftime of the 2005 Champions League Finals, but in the second half, Liverpool scores 3 goals in the span of 6 minutes. After extra time, game went to penalties. Milan missed its first 2 shots.
Yeah. So that's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say. But so he's writing that down, but collectively think it's a choke. I think that the penalty shootout was an unbelievable choke, specifically from Andrei Shevchenko, who was their top goal scorer, who missed the penalty which Jerzy Dudek saved. But I think the second half was like AC Milan didn't change much of their game. Liverpool just completely came out.
What if I read you this? According to 442 Q&A with Milan defender Cafu, they celebrated at halftime.
I think they just allowed Liverpool to come back into the game. One of the best games I've ever seen Steven Gerrard play in the Liverpool jersey. Xabi Alonso. That's true. I think that I would, because I'm more of a sentimental guy, I'd like to credit it more so to Liverpool bouncing back in one of the most unbelievable comebacks rather than one of the most unbelievable chokes. I consider a 7-1 loss from Brazil, the host nation of a World Cup. Yes, they didn't have Neymar and Thiago Silva, but you lose 7-1 in your home nation, I see that as a choke. I see them petrified on the biggest stage to who would inevitably be the world champions. I see that as a choke. I don't see the World Cup final being a choke for Lionel Messi. Because that's what many people said. Oh, he's choking again. The recent time, yes, Copa America missing a penalty. That's a choke. World Cup final, losing to Germany, Mario Götze wonder goal. That's not a choke.
Not a choke. So
We
there's
could do this
specific,
yeah,
there's specific Messi instances. The only
Yeah.
other one I was going to mention in terms of the hand egg, as you'd call it, Francis, the American football, the 2007 New England Patriots were 18-0.
I remember this.
They're 18-0 going to the Super Bowl, and they came up against the one formula that beats every single high-power offense.
A strong defense.
Thank you. It is. I mean, look at the Denver Broncos this year. Look at the Pittsburgh Steelers still current. Any time high-power defense goes up against the high-power offense, the high-power defense wins.
Unstoppable.
Baltimore Ravens did the same thing to the Giants, who didn't even have a high-power offense in 2000, but they were no match. They were absolutely no match. So I don't consider. I mean, I consider the 18-0 Patriots a slight. I guess I got to call it a choke. You're gonna make history. You're gonna make history. You have the greatest quarterback of all time. You have one of the greatest NFL players of all time on your team. And you had Randy Moss. But you couldn't get past Strahan and Pierre-Paul, who blew off his hand in a fireworks accident. And Osia Minora. And our shit secondary still. We had a terrible secondary. We still had a terrible secondary. But it worked. And you let, oh, God, I could have said something so mean. You let the dumber half-brother
Yeah, I was going to say,
of
Eli.
Peyton Manning
Eli
get a
face.
Super Bowl ring. It was a joke.
Eat shit's coming from Jacory, who is definitely a New England
What
fan.
does he have to complain about? He's got 4 Super Bowls. He's got like 3 World Series in the past 10
When's
years.
Because he's more of a basketball
He's
fan.
got a Celtics championship.
How long?
Every one of his teams has won, even the Bruins.
So the comments can continue. Let us know who you think is the greatest choke of all time. I really can't think. I mean, Dustin Johnson on the green from an individual basis has to be the biggest choke of all time because he's got no one else to blame. Maybe his caddy, maybe the weather, maybe the guy behind him is going, "You won't make this, you jackass." But that has to be considered. It might not be your most popular sport, but watch it back, man. It was hard to watch. Was it 4 pucks?
I don't
Did he
feel.
3 pucks?
I don't think it's a choke because he's got Paulina Gretzky.
Oh yeah, of course, that's fine. And he
that's
managed
a win
to,
for everybody.
And obviously he won recently, so he managed to get over that hump. But hit us in the comments, hit us on Twitter. Don't hit us in person at Francis_Maxwell and at Jason Rubin. See you guys soon.